I will now call the Finance and Responsible Governance Committee meeting to order. This meeting is being held in person and electronically in accordance with the Municipal Act. Consent items. For the consent items, I'll read out the title associated with the recommended motions printed on the agenda to see if members of committee would like to deal with them on consent or hold them for discussion. Items that are not held will be deemed approved by consent. With no further discussion, they will then move forward to the next general committee meeting for consideration. Today we have no public meetings. Our first order of business is an open delegation. We have one open delegation. Oh. Do you want me to go through the consent?
Yeah.
Madam Clerk is keeping me on track here. Thank you. So we'll go through the items first, and then we will come back to the open delegation. So the first item, number 5, is a deferred and referred item. There's one referred item from the May 29th, 2024 General Committee meeting concerning a confidential memorandum regarding a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality water lot.
Hold, please.
And that's held by Councillor Kungle. The next item under number 6, reports of advisory committees. Next, we have one report of advisory committees to be received. 6.1, report of the International Relations Committee dated June the 4th, 2024. Does a member of, and that passes on consent. The second one, there are 2 recommendations from the International Relations Committee dated June the 4th, 2024. International Relations Committee and Invest Barrie German Trade Delegation. And that's approved on consent. And the next one is in relation to the City of Saginaw, Michigan Delegation. And that's approved on consent. Reports of officers of the corporation. Next, there's one report of officers of the corporation. 7.1, which is Q2 2024 internal audit status update. And that's approved on consent. We will now move back to our open delegation. We have one open delegation to be received this evening from the Barrie Skateboard Association regarding the Barrie Skateboard Park 25th anniversary event proposal. In accordance with the city's procedural bylaw, a maximum of 5 minutes is permitted to speak. I will now call upon Corey Henderson, Dan Bachma, Jay Colson, and Joy Webster of the Barrie Skateboard Association to approach the podium to deliver the open delegation. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you for having us. Sorry, I'll try and get used to this mic and not yell. It's a bit different for me. Good afternoon, Mayor Nuttall and council members. My name is Daniel Bokma, and I am a director with the Barrie Skateboard Association. We are a non-for-profit organization with the mission to support and advocate for the skateboard community of Barrie. This year marks the 25th anniversary of the City of Barrie Skateboard Park, opening at Queen's Park. Some 29 years ago, a monumental effort was undertaken by the original Barrie Skateboard Association, including Jay Colson, who now sits as one of our board of directors, Joy Webster, who worked with the United Way and is here with us today, as well as our president, Corey, and our secretary, who is in the stands with her, I think, 6-day-old baby. Together in the late 90s, they convinced the mayor, Janice Laking, and her council members that a skateboard park was a good investment for our city. Once approved, the city provided the land to use, and through fundraising efforts by the BSA, donations of labor, materials from local businesses, the skateboarding community was able to construct a park. The creation of this park provided a space for the community to grow. It was not only a recreational area to improve our confidence on a skateboard, but it provided a space for like minds to meet. It brings together a diverse group of people in Barrie, people of different ages, from different backgrounds and upbringings, different abilities on a skateboard. The skate park provided an area for these people to come together and find friends that share similar interests. It provides a safe place away from the city streets and the trouble that it can cause. It provides a place to be active and a chance to make lifelong friends. Your predecessors, Mayor Janice Laking and the City of Barrie Council, acknowledged that this was a needed space for a growing community within their city. They worked with members of the skateboard community to find similar goals and approaches that would make the creation of the skateboard park a success. 25 years later, this should be considered a huge success. And with a minimal financial cost to our city, this space is still frequented by the City of Barrie skateboarders and has seen a community grow from that park, which continues to grow today. Skateboarders that were there with Mayor Laking skateboarders like myself that were there on day one with Mayor Laking opened the park for us and are still there now, many of whom are bringing their children to enjoy the park as well. Queen's Park Skate Park has become a generational recreational space in the City of Barrie. That is something that we as skateboarders are proud of, and the City of Barrie should be proud of as well. The initiative the original Barrie Skateboard Association took into creating a space for this community to grow should be celebrated. A community that 25 plus years ago was considered more of a fringe sport than the usual organized sports that claim park space around the city. 25 years on, like any city space, there have been ups and downs in the use of the park and the difficulty in maintaining such a space, but the community of Barrie has stayed committed to the skate park that they built over 2 decades ago. Through that commitment, the community of skateboarders has found like minds to grow and to forge friendships. The Barrie Skateboard Association is making this proposal for Mayor Nuttall and the present council members, and I apologize for my enunciation on a lot of these things, but to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Barrie Skateboard Park. This event will be planned for September 21st, 2024, with a potential, but hopefully not needed, rain date of September 28th, 2024 at Queen's Park Skate Park. This historical event will bring together the community of skateboarders who have flourished within the space, the businesses that donated to the construction, as well as the members of the City of Barrie that helped create and maintain the space over the last 25 years. This will be a chance to celebrate a monumental civil achievement in creating an environment that is inclusive to all locals in the City of Barrie and beyond. We thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Thank you for your presentation. Do any members of committee have any questions? Mayor Nuttall.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair, and thank you for coming today. And we've had some discussions over the last, I guess, 8 months with regards to the 25th anniversary. And I think that Eric in my office has also been communicating in terms of recognizing the 25 years. It's definitely something that we need to do. It's when you think about the backdrop of the late 90s and probably stretching into the early 2000s and skateboarding and the feeling about skateboarding and skateboarders at that point, it's actually quite something that Mayor Laking and that council stepped in to make it happen. And obviously a place that I frequented growing up and haven't been in a while, as you can probably tell. Physique has changed a little bit, but something that we need to celebrate. I think the second thing that's kind of being discussed, whether it was in today or not, was with regards to the fencing. And I never want to leave any gray for misunderstanding, because we end up not being a good place when that happens. And the fencing is necessary for a multitude of reasons in terms of keeping it so it can be used during the daytime, ensuring that it's kept clean at the nighttime, those types of things. I understand that the view of it isn't the greatest when you're standing on the street and going in. It becomes closed off instead of inviting and welcoming. But such are the days we live. And so my final, I know I didn't ask a question, Mr. Chair, so thank you for allowing me to break the rules. Finally, I just want to say thanks to the association. I didn't actually know it existed until you reached out, but for the volunteerism and the leadership, because the leadership of our younger people, it's something that's immensely important to every member of this council and certainly to everyone in the city. And you're doing that, and I appreciate it, and we all thank you for it. If there's anything going forward that we should be doing differently or better, that we have the ability to influence, don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Thompson.
Thank you, Chair Harvey. Thanks for the presentation. Just out of curiosity, how many members do you have?
So officially members, it's the 6 of us who sit on the board of directors. We're a registered not-for-profit. organization. In terms of skateboarders in Barrie, we're probably a good 150. Young people who that's what they do, right? They're on it every day. They're at the park all the time. We see the same faces and whatnot, right? So
In the anniversary celebration, would there be any interest in maybe getting members to come in and maybe paint it? Is
That
that
is
something
actually-
that would interest the members?
yeah, absolutely. And that's actually already in the works. We're working with another community organization, talking about a paint the park day prior to that, because we know it needs some cleaning up. We've organized cleanups for the garbage and whatnot that ends up around there. But in terms of making it look nice, that's actually already in the works. Yes.
I was more of a Powell Peralta guy back in the day.
Yeah.
All the good ones were.
Yeah. But thanks so much.
Thank you. As you can tell, Deputy Mayor is more of a cyclist than a skateboarder.
Yes.
Council,
More of a weed guy.
Councillor Congo.
Thank you through you, Chair Harvey. Thank you for the presentation. And again, I was not aware, but I know what it does take to start a grassroots initiative and create yourself into a not-for-profit. So congratulations on that and sustaining yourself through the last couple of years in particular. Just a question on the day of the event, and then you attached a budget. Is this a formal ask, or is that what you've already budgeted to spend and you've already pulled in donations or have that budget available to you?
I would say it's a formal ask at this point. We're working with other community groups right now, possible partnerships and sponsorships for the event. We have the itinerary wrote down there is I guess in the beginning stages there. We'll finalize as we kind of go forward and know what our funds actually are going to be. So that was kind of the ask where we know we could really make it a success. And then we'll kind of go from there, see what happens.
So a couple of pieces, and so I'm going to come at it from making a lot of assumptions. So I'm assuming there'll be a formal permit that you'll need to be going through as a City of Barrie. So are you aware of that and know that that's a process step to at least connect with staff on?
We have heard that, yeah, we're really there to celebrate the city's park. It is the city's park there, right? We're aware of that, looking into that as well. We understand the timeline there, and Joy may have something to
Yeah,
add
that's
to that.
right.
Okay.
Good evening. My name's Joy Webster. It's been a long time. Alex, I think you were like this big all those years ago. So I worked at the United Way back in the day. And so like the gentlemen have done a great job tonight, and it's great seeing you. For me, the skateboarders were maybe 5, 6, 7 years younger. And that was like, they all thought that I was the granny skater. So funny now, we have children around the same age. They still skate. It's like a 3-generational thing. This is a celebration for the city of Barrie. This is your park. We found hundreds of thousands of dollars in cement alone. That's why we want to celebrate. That was a true community development project that was grassroots with the businesses. Once Lafarge came on board, then Cowden Woods came on board. Cowden Woods came on board. It just kept rolling and rolling. And if it wasn't for the skaters, Jake Coulson is a key to this too. I would get a call and it's like, can you get some skaters down to come skate so we can, you know, plane the wood to make sure it's at the right curvature. I went all over Ontario with, it was Sid Armitage at the time, and I can't think of his name, from the ministry, about how to create a park in Ontario. That was back then. We did something amazing. So to come to fruition 25 years ago, 25 years now, we were told no one will keep skating at that park. You can't do it. No one's going to be there. It was I compare it to snowboarding and skiing, right? Snowboarders weren't walking on the hill and they had a leash. Same kind of mentality. This is a success story for your community 25 years later. And I understand you want us to get a permit. That's not our rule, we believe. We're coming on to celebrate a City of Barrie success. We can get you the partnerships again, no problem. We need it's your park. We want to celebrate and enhance your park. We don't own it. We're done. We put the cement in. We're just having a party and we can bring all the parties back together. I'm going to step out though, because the people that are 6 and 7, 8 years younger need to step up, but that's a little bit of history.
Thank you. I guess my only comment would be, I understand your intention. It sounds like you're gifting us a budget and you want us to hold an event. I would encourage you to connect with staff about either identifying that and then how to work with hosting an event there. But it sounds like maybe refining your ask. Am I correct then in hearing that Joy is saying that you're basically asking us to run an event, but you're out of it. You're basically showing us what you believe it would take, but you're not taking a next step in getting a permit or hosting this event as a not-for-profit. Is that clear?
We're new to this. Just
So I guess-
Joy's gonna.
I will say that I've held a position on council before in my past. So I guess this is a gray area one-off. And Mayor Laking saw that one-off 25 years ago. There was no one gifting $100,000 back of cement back in the day from Lafarge like it was. Is that right or wrong? That's for you to call. That's for your vote. What we're asking is to partner with the City of Barrie's Parks and Rec Department to have a celebration, and we as skateboarders can come forward and help you with this. As far as we know, on staff, you have no skateboarders in your Parks and Rec Department. We can help you with that.
Thank you. I think that's a good point of clarity for the community to have about the expectation of the event. And
We'll help. We just want to make it happen. However it's going to make it happen. You need the park cleaned up. We're there to help and find people to get it cleaned up. Are we volunteers of the City of Barrie? That's for your council or your finance committee to call.
I would just like to let you know, Councillor Kungle did have the floor and was in the midst of responding when you interrupted. So please,
My apologies.
please let her reply. Thank you.
that's okay. Thank you. I would just say coming to finance, it's more about the budget and financial ask. I don't believe that it's in our scope to be making a judgment on whether or not we would partner or clarifying maybe that ask. So I'll look to the chair around how you want to address this, because I think that's new information coming to light about an expectation that this is not something where a permit's being received and they're asking for money to support the cost to the event that they're hosting. So maybe I'm not sure if it's best to redirect the group to staff or not to clarify that. That would be my recommendation, is seek out staff and Parks and Rec about your intention to see an event happen and how you would like to be involved or not be involved. And then my last comment is knowing that you're tying this to the 25th anniversary, which I think is amazing. There would typically be grants and different intakes. Have you accessed in the past the Sport and Rec grant?
No, we have not. We were incorporated in January of this year officially. So the old BSA was an informal organization. So no, we have not. We've been keeping an eye on when that grant opens up. Obviously, we'd be interested in looking into that.
Okay, thank you. And then lastly, my only comment is not knowing how this will roll out, but seeing the budget there, welcome you to reach out to me if this does become an event that you are more formally involved in around partnerships and community that could really reduce the cost that's scoped.
Can I just make a comment? 8 months ago, I came to the city clerk and said, hey, it's 25 years this year for the BSA and for the Queen's Park Skateboard Park. And from there, it went to the clerk. And from there, I spoke to Alex. And from there, the skaters got involved. So as far as I'm concerned, some of the staff have been involved. 25 years of the dig date, which we have the pictures of, is September. We, in my opinion, have gone through 8 months of trying to come to the table. We have gathered our community. They are well aware we are here today. So as far as fundraising and things, I am very confident that those that were involved prior will do the exact same again. And it's a drop in the bucket compared to what we did 25 years ago. There's people reaching out to us because they found out it's happening.
I don't have any more questions. I would say glad to see it happen. I think though there's a nuance here about how that event is going to run, and that really needs to be clarified in case you do need a permit, and that will take some time and might change the conversations you need to have.
Thank you, Councillor Kungle, and other members of non-committee. I Councillor Rietman, I saw first.
Thank you, Chair Harvey. I think anybody that brings a 6-day-old baby in here deserves a medal. And I think it's the youngest person we've ever had in here. And no question, I think that the skateboard park is great. I don't skateboard, but I have kids and grandkids that do. And I guess there are just two things, and one of them Councillor Kungle raised with you as well. First of all, have you talked to Mr. Bell and his staff about the fixes that you're asking about the fence and the receptacles? Because that may or may not be possible, and I think that Mr. Bell and his company, his group are responsible for the park, so no, I got a head shake, okay. Whoever is responsible, you need to work with them in order to get that done. I don't see that those are big things. And the second piece of it is the money that you're asking for. The recreation grant is open now. So you need to get a pen and paper together and make an application for it. We have lots of requests. And that's the formula that you can use to find some money to support your efforts. And again, I think that's run through Mr. Bell. So it's on the website. Take a look at it and see how you can submit. Okay.
I gather there was no question in that. Councillor Morales.
Thank you, Chair Harvey. It sounds like you have an amazing story to tell, not just what you've been able to do now, but historically. So I'll ask in the form of a question, and then I'll lead to something a little bit more specific. If, let's say, Barrie Historical Archive, or even the city's own comms department, or even the media reached out to you, is that something that you think, not just yourselves, but maybe a few other members would be willing to tell? Because even just the short little bit that it's gonna be on a YouTube video somewhere for people to look up if they want. But how awesome is it that people have reached out since you've even had this conversation with us? So in the form of a question, is the organization open to telling its story if either city comms or non-city affiliated broadcasting resources reach out to you?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. So back to the meat and potatoes of this. So I think it just comes down to what is it? Are you guys just passionate people that want to celebrate the city's asset, which is a park, skateboard park? Hey, city, you should probably celebrate your asset because a lot of people worked really hard 25 plus years ago to make this happen. If that's the case, that probably has to come from within. We probably have to do something to activate, to do a sort of celebration. I didn't see a date on your proposal. Sorry if I missed it. So that's one thing. If it's more of a, you are your own organization and you are applying and you activate, because I've heard both things. I've heard you guys will do this and maybe do an application. I've heard about, no, this is your park. You celebrate it, you activate it. We're just here to advise you to do it and support you if need be. So I think maybe, I guess, would you find it productive if, and I can't guarantee you that meeting at all, but if there was an extension of a meeting with the appropriate mix of political and staff resources where you definitively figured out what you were trying to achieve? Either you guys are an organization that are going to do the event, therefore you need to do permits. It just has to happen. It's on city land. You're going to need a permit and insurance and all those reasons to figure it out. And then you apply through our channels for grant money, or you guys have nothing to do with that. You're just very politely encouraging us to celebrate our city asset and you're here to help as needed. Is that something that you'd be willing to have if that some sort of meeting like that, which I'm not promising you whatsoever, is arranged?
Yeah, we'd be interested in being spokespeople for the park. We're skateboarders. We know what is best for the park there. It is a city asset. It's the city's park. But it's kind of unique in the sports and rec field, right? So, and we do find, years past, there's just not the knowledge within the city, maybe what's needed, how it should be run. So skateboarders kind of have that knowledge and we'd be willing to share and gladly work with any partnerships you guys could offer to us there. to
Yeah.
answer any questions and steer you in the right direction. Yeah.
Awesome. And I'm not in a position to like know the answer to this because I can close my eyes and think of times where a city has opened a park and thrown a celebration.
Mhm.
I can think of a situation in the last 2 years. I can't think of a situation where we threw a 10th year anniversary over a rec center, but maybe I'm forgetting it. So, you know, there's lots of nuance here, and I just see lots of really passionate people that, and lots of activist energy that I personally don't want to get in the way of. I just think it's a matter of like getting people to the table, figuring out what you are and what you're not, and then making sure you go through the channels. Because nothing worse than a passionate organization feeling like they're getting accidentally stonewalled through a process, and they decide to either not do a passionate event, or worse, they decide to go through with it without the proper processes. So anyways, thank you for your presentation, and hopefully you guys are connected appropriately.
Thank you, and back to you, Mayor Nuttall.
Yeah, thanks. I was just gonna say, because we do have a busy evening, and that's not to say this isn't important. So I think there should be a discussion with staff, and the point I think that I would like to make is we can easily do a celebration where the city's in control of it. I'm not sure it's a celebration that's presented in the budget. And so, you know, we do lots of openings, we do lots of highlighting things where we don't have a bunch of sound equipment or stages and tents. And so I think maybe what needs to happen, and I'm running down, I guess, kind of what Councillor Malice was saying. We need to, as a city, say, okay, this is what we normally do. And this is the budget for it, and how we're going to present it as a celebration. For things that are more than that, we would recommend applying for the funds or fundraising those things in the community. And there are organizations that do provide sound equipment that can help out as well, right? So I would just maybe ask that we get that done sooner than later, because what could happen is we do the 25th anniversary, and if we aren't proceeding with the components that you want, and then you want to add them at the last minute, it could trigger a different type of permit based on what's being proposed. For instance, food, right? So let's get that done sooner than later. I'll commit to even if it's through the mayor's office, we go and we actually do that celebration, do that recognition. But I don't see where we just have a bucket that we're going to pull 10 grand out of. But I do see where we want to celebrate, honor, bring media down, invite that council down, and invite all members of council here, and the staff that were integral to making it happen, as well as all of your donors that made it happen, and giving it the recognition and celebration it deserves. So I'm not sure if that needs a motion, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, at this point, it would need a motion with direction accordingly to be able to move this forward.
Can you give me 2 seconds here with the clerk, if that's okay? Okay, so my motion, Mr. Chair, is that staff in the Rec and Culture Department, my name clerk, forgetting it already, meet with members of the community to formalize and present a scope for a anniversary and celebration for 25 years of the skate park at Queen's Park.
Has that been recorded accordingly, Madam Clerk? And it looks
And
like you
report
want to
back.
add something to it.
Through you, Chair Harvey, Mayor Nuttall had asked, as part of the report back, that staff identify what is usually in scope with these type of events and what would be out of scope, so that members of council would know that this is what city usually covers with like similar events, like recognition events, and what would be above and beyond.
And I just, if I can, I think it should be a memo because of our sitting schedule. So if that can be a memo back, that would be great.
Great, thank you to all members. Actually, we just lost one for voting purposes, but we're still good here. Does anybody have any questions in regards to the motion on the table? No?
Only that we need more of these activities at Queen's Park.
Definitely. Okay, so I'll call the vote. All those in favor? And that passes. Oh, go ahead, Councillor Congo.
Well, I do support that. I just wanted to be clear. So members of the skateboard board and community know, I would kind of suggest that you do go through the criteria for the sport and rec grant as soon as possible. So you know it's in scope. Hypothetically, do you want to do a membership drive? Do you want to purchase and gift skateboards to kids who don't have access to that? Like, so that grant might afford you to do things you hadn't maybe thought about in this. So think about that and what you really need, because I think we can save you some of the money that you've put in the budget through connecting you with the right stakeholders. But two, I'm assuming we don't want them to wait to September. No, the memo was coming back. We want you to start that process as soon as possible. So don't wait to get triggered by what we just motioned on as a staff memo that will come back in September, I believe.
Actually, I was actually going to talk about
Yeah.
that because our next council meeting would be August the 14th.
Yeah.
And if funding is going to be requested, it would have to be approved by council August 14th to be able to meet their September deadline. So I know it is a pretty tight timeline to be able to go through it and for staff to report back. So hopefully the August the 14th date will work. Other than that, I'm not sure how the funding would be able to come through. I don't know if Ms. McAlpine can offer anything further when it comes to the timelines here, because it is quite tight.
Thank you, Chair Harvey. I can advise that we are staffed and resourced to provide the events that council has approved as the city hosting. This would be something new, certainly that doesn't currently have staffing or resourcing associated with it. It's not, there have been celebrations certainly at a very different level than what's being presented. And those, certainly not something that would be a stretch to what has currently been budgeted. What's been presented is not within the current budget or resourcing that has been approved by council. But we're certainly happy to meet and have further discussions.
Great, thank you. I just have one question for the presenters, because obviously you indicated that you've been working on this for about 8 months. Has there been any fundraising drive over those 8 months, or were you just anticipating that the city was going to cover all the costs?
We're speaking with local businesses now. It kind of all came together. We had started this in January of this year. Joy had already been speaking about this prior to that, and we actually hadn't even connected until January. We were unaware she was doing that. We were doing this. So now all these pieces are kind of coming together. But yeah, we've been speaking with lots of businesses. There are people willing to donate. They're very interested in this. So yeah, there is fundraising efforts underway now.
Great. Maybe just to put a little bit of rationale and color behind the reason for some of the questions that you've received today is even when we've had other grand openings for parks being named after people, those celebrations were not initiated or run by the city. They were actually run by, let's say, the family or whomever in relation to it. So that's why you've been getting the questions that you have when it comes to the funding and how, although it is a city asset, obviously you've got a not-for-profit association that is pretty much the sole user of it. And that's the reason you've been getting the questions that you have been today, just so that way you kind of understand. It's not that there's an attack on what's going on. We're obviously all supportive of the 25th anniversary. It's just, it would have been much, let's say, more robust if things would have come here much sooner.
Yeah.
And no fault of your own. So I do apologize for that, but we probably should have been having this conversation a couple months ago. But I do thank you for your presentation and hopefully the conversations with staff work out and they'll report back and then we can deal with this accordingly, but definitely do go forward with that grant application. It's a fairly easy application to apply for is open right now. So that'll give you some good funding there too.
And we will. And one other thing is that, I don't know if you're aware, you have a skateboard park in downtown, right across from Queen's Park. So there is business representation in the downtown. It wouldn't be there without that park. And it's a really successful store. Within that,
Oh, skateboard store.
sorry, what I said,
Skateboard
park.
park,
I'm sorry, sorry. So with that comes, you know, suppliers and other things, but we needed to come to you to get the okay before we moved forward. We couldn't just say, we're having a party in the Queen's Park for the skateboard park without getting the okay from yourselves. Somehow from the city of Barrie, right? We had to come somehow and get recognition that we were doing this before making an ask, because your clerk would be getting a call saying the BSA is collecting money and things that you don't have their permission. So we just wanted to go about it subsequently the right way.
Yeah, no, thank you. I do appreciate that. And that's the reason why a permit was mentioned earlier and stuff too. But I will thank you for your presentation. And we will now, committee will now move into closed session to discuss the referred item concerning the confidential memorandum regarding a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality water lot. Can I have a motion to move into closed session, please? So thank you, Councillor Kungle. Members of the public are excused from this portion of the meeting. We will now move into the Sir Robert Barrie room for the closed session.